Hey man, do you like Star Trek?
No, I like Star Wars.
Freaking nerds. Everybody knows Firefly's the best. Oh, hey there! It's been a while, hasn't it? I remember like it was yesterday I was filming my first Geekin Out episode. What? That was months ago? Uh-oh. But I'm back, suckers! If there's one thing nerds love to do, it's argue. Whether you're talking about Mac versus PC, string theory versus quantum loop gravity, pirates versus ninjas, cake versus pie, or even the seemingly silly crunchy versus smooth. Team Smooth. There's all sorts of arguments. You're either one or the other. But there is one argument that I find particularly troubling. And I want to put this thing to bed. That's right, folks. I'm talking about the infamous Star Wars versus Star Trek. I like Star Trek, and I like Star Wars. Whoa, what? The scenario reenacted in the opening sequence of this video is based on overwhelming personal experience. For some reason, people have got it into their head that if you like Star Wars, you can't possibly like Star Trek. And to a lesser extent, if you like Star Trek, you can't possibly like Star Wars. Or you like Star Trek like innumerably better than Star Wars. Like so much so that you would go out of your way not to name any of your children something from Star Trek. Which is virtually impossible. Nope, that was Riker's first name. No, that won't do. Now, most of the things that nerds fight about are two things within the same general area that kind of conflict naturally. Marvel versus DC. They're both comics. They're both centered around superheroes and supervillains. In the end, it's really a matter of preference. Mac versus PC. While I do think that that's a foolish argument considering Macs are PCs. But come on, don't be that guy. You know what they mean. Whatever. Point is, they're both computers. And besides, real nerds like Linux. I use Windows. I guess I'm not a real nerd. But this argument, Star Trek versus Star Wars, is like comparing apples to oranges. They're both fruits, but they're totally different. Star Wars takes place in a distant past in a distant galaxy. Star Trek takes place in the future, in our current galaxy and surrounding areas around the area. Star Wars is basically a set of movies. Star Trek is mostly a TV show. Star Wars didn't even come out until 1977. Star Trek started in the 60s. They're in two different categories. I'm gonna call it a false dichotomy. Because you're allowed to like both. That was dramatic. You know who I blame for this argument? Non-nerds. For some reason, it's okay to like Star Wars. You can like Star Wars and not be a nerd. Kind of like how you can play video games and not classify yourself as a nerd. But for some reason, Star Trek, that's like... And I don't get why. I mean, it's not like Star Wars has like some broad appeal. What makes Star Wars like lower on the nerd scale? I've got no idea. I am just sick of people arguing about it. You can like both. I like both. But real nerds like Firefly. But I like that too. I guess I am a real nerd after all. That's enough of this rant. What do you think? False dichotomy? Yay or nay? As a matter of preference, which do you prefer? Note that I'm not asking what's better. Leave a comment, leave a video response, talk about what I talked about. That was unbelievably lame. My name is Bud Newman, and I geek out over Star Trek and Star Wars.